Alright, good morning. Get started here in just a minute. Good Tuesday morning. Gonna get started here in just a minute. Let you look at the radar. I'll finish up a couple of things here. Hope everybody got at least some sleep last night. I know I did. I hope you did too. The different colors that you see, the round circles that you see right now, that is hurricane hunters, reconnaissance going into Sally. They will be in Sally taking measurements all day long. So, going in, they're seeing what they can find this morning. She looked pretty ragged last night. Starting to get her act together again this morning. Once again, still trying to close off that eye wall. I'm going to stop, move this over to the Slidell, Louisiana. see the eye wall better from there, we'll take the last 100 frames. Notice that she's starting to close off that eye wall. So definitely trying to get her act together. And that eye wall is almost completely closed off. We're going to go look at dry air. I'm going to take a look at everything. We've got a lot to get into this morning. So I want to start off by saying hello. My name's Randall. I have been live streaming Sally as she's meandering around the Gulf right now. We're going to take a look this morning for an hour or two about the inner workings of Sally, make some projections for the day, take a look at models and what models are showing us, and trying to see if we can pinpoint with a little more accuracy this morning where the landfall of Laura, I always want to say Laura, where the landfall of Sally might be. Last night, I ended my live stream by saying somewhere between Gulfport, Mississippi and Foley, Alabama, which is just on the other side of Mobile Bay. We'll go in and we'll take a look this morning and see what the models are telling us, what the National Hurricane Center is telling us. So we'll take a look. Before we get started, I do want to let you know you are on Randall's weather page on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you're seeing, and make sure to ring that bell so you can be notified. I'm going to live stream again tonight, and possibly through the landfall of Sally. So make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, make sure that you are first to be notified. If you don't know me from Facebook, Randall's Weather Page on Facebook, or Randall's Weather Page Center is a page on Facebook. You can find me there. I do a lot of posting on any type of storm. Right now it just so happens to be tropics, but all throughout the year I'll be making posts about severe storms, tropics, snowfall, you name it. I'll be making that post on there. So okay, I think I'm still on. Little crazy there. Just want to make sure. It looks like I got kicked off, but I'm right back on. Make sure. Okay, looks like I'm back on and running again. Sorry about the little snafu. But once again, you can follow me on Twitter at Randall's Weather Page. On Twitter, do a lot of tweets. And I follow a lot of meteorologists, a lot of storm chasers, a lot of scientists. So I try to relay the information as quickly as I possibly can to you, to keep you informed on not only what I'm seeing, but also on what meteorologists and scientists are seeing at the same time. And let me get back to here. Let me take this off. And one last thing. I do accept donations right here. This is my PayPal account, Big Cubs Fan in TX. Okay, I call it coffee money. If you'd like to donate, I've got my. Excuse me. Let me turn it this way. I've got my Mississippi State cup where I went to college, and I've got coffee in that cup. If you would like to donate. To help me keep going, send me some coffee money, $5, $10, whatever you can spare. Just send me a little bit of money so that way I can buy more coffee and I can keep going. All right. Thank y'all very much for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Enough of my ugly face. Let's get to what Sally is looking like this morning. All right. I do believe we have two. Recon missions going on at the same time into Sally. So, this is the radar. Let me explain to you what you're looking at here. So this is the radar, and the radar is through Radar Omega. And Radar Omega is one of my favorite apps because it shows you all kinds of information. Not only does it show you, there it is. Now this right here is recon. So this is the hurricane hunters coming in. Looks like there's another one that is out here. So it looks like they're trying to get 2 in 1 this morning when it comes to recon. And this is the radar site. And this is the radar site that is out of Slidell, Louisiana, which is just north and east of New Orleans, Louisiana. So once again, the eye looks better this morning, much better than it did last night. It's trying to close off that eye wall, and if it successfully closes off this eye wall, let's go to the end here. It's kind of ragged in this view, but successfully closes off that eye wall and keeps that eye wall closed off, then there will be strengthening. Now, the National Hurricane Center kind of hinted that what Sally is now is what Sally will go in as, around 85, 90 mile per hour winds. Those people are amazing and great at the National Hurricane Center. I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. I think there will be strengthening today. Okay? Back up to at least 100 mile per hour winds. That's what I'm seeing. Okay? Now, they say it should stay the same. Maybe they're seeing a lot of things I don't, but I'm going to show you some of the reason why I believe that it is a decent chance, at least in my opinion, that Hurricane Sally can ramp back up in intensity. I'm not calling for rapid intensification, but definitely calling for not for it to remain as an 85 mile per hour storm. I could be dead wrong on this, but we'll see. Okay. Once again, I trying to get its act together. Let's look at some of the winds that are out there right now. Most of this is buoy data that's coming in. There is a hurricane strength wind right now, and this is KMIS, station KMIS. This is just north and east. There's this station right here, just north and east of the mouth of the Mississippi. Okay, so it has sustained hurricane winds at 75 miles per hour right now, and gust up to 92 miles per hour, and that is just off the coast of Louisiana. We're talking 12 miles from the coast of Louisiana. So it looks like in these outer bands right here, you've got really good gusts that are happening. So the mouth of the Mississippi, I'm sure there's not many ships trying to get out. I hope there's not, but that is the main way to get out of New Orleans via ship, is through the mouth of the Mississippi. Coffee is good. Coffee is really good. There we go. I'm going to do a picture-in-picture because I also want to show you. This is the steel radar from out of Mobile, Alabama. I did that last night. But I just wanted to show you that raining in Mobile, Raining in Pensacola, raining in Foley, raining in Biloxi, raining in Pascagoula, Fort Walton Beach, Panama City, Apalachicola. I mean, this is last night or this morning at 1 a.m. It was raining in the same places, and raining all the way down the coastline. Tampa's still getting rain like it did last night. This is one of the things that I really worry about with Sally is the amount of rain that the Emerald Coastline can receive. From Apalachicola all the way over to Pensacola. I'm really watching this rainfall total over here because, like I said last night, you've got 72 hours worth of rain, on and off rain, that will be happening on the Emerald Coastline, on the Alabama and Mississippi coastline. So even when this thing goes in tomorrow morning, you're still looking at rain, and the rain will continue through Thursday. So it's not like this event is over when when Sally goes in to shore. Definitely not going to finish there because you're going to have a lot of rain still. Let me move over. Let's take a look. I'm looking at the radar. I'm looking at the radar out of Mobile because I want to switch this over to total storm precip at the moment. I'm going to have to go out of Florida, sorry. Let's move this over. All right. Let me get my inspection tool out. Now this is out at sea, but even out at sea, there's 12 inches that have fallen. A foot of rain has fallen right south of Pensacola. And you go into, these little dots are hurricane hunters, by the way. But even at, let's see, Pensacola Beach. Even at Pensacola Beach, we've already had 6 inches of rain. This is going to be one of the big stories that we're going to see come out of this is the rainfall total. Sanders Beach, 6 inches of rain. East Emerald Heights in Pensacola, East Pensacola Heights, 6 inches of rain. Orange Beach has gotten 3 inches of rain so far. Foley has gotten 2.25 inches of rain. Let's go up to Mobile. Mobile, not as much yet. Mobile just about an inch, but just south and east, they have a lot of rain. Let's go over to Fort Walton Beach. All right, Fort Walton Beach, almost 5 inches of rain already. This is just since last night. Destin, 4.25 inches. Already along the beaches. Panama City, almost 3.5 inches of rain. There is 3.5 inches of rain. Mexico Beach, we know that's where we've had a hurricane landing in the last couple of years. Almost 4 inches of rain already. So that's going to be one of the major stories when it comes to Hurricane Sally, is the amount of rain that is going to be dropped by this hurricane. And we're still 30 to 36, probably about 30 hours out from landfall. And we've already got places with 4, 5, 6 inches of rain along the coastline. It's only going to add to it. So Emerald Coastline, Pensacola all the way over to Apalachicola. I'm telling you right now, the rainfall amount totals are going to be insane. So flash flooding is a possibility. And one more time, it's just going to be a lot of rain. And that's going to be one of the major stories. The second thing is going to be surge and then wind. But Pensacola, and you're kind of right now in the target of all this rain, and this is just offshore. You're looking at 8, 9, 10 inches of rain. And where is all of this coming? Right there. right there, coming on shore. Let me get out of total precip. Let's go. Let's get out of radar. We're going to go into satellite mode. I want to show you. This is a visible satellite. Let's run it for 50 frames. Let's see what the sunrise looks like. It's trying to definitely, you see the cloud tops billowing at sunrise, so she's definitely trying to get her act together. Let's go over to the infrared satellite. See a nice buildup already. It looks even better than it did last night. So even better look at what we have with Hurricane Sally here. Looks like she's definitely trying to get her act to going. I'm going to take the last 100. Let me get out here. I'm going to take the last 100 frames because at 100 frames you can really tell a difference. Okay, really tell the trend. So let's go in and look at the trend for the last 100 frames. Yes, most definitely. This last night in this area was dry air choking off thunderstorm development. But notice in the last couple of frames, looks like she is successfully blowing out over here. When she gets over here, the cloud tops get over here. Looks like she is successfully blowing out some of that dry air because the thunderstorm convection is sticking around. It's not shooting and dissipating. It is building and staying built. Okay, that just shows me that she is definitely trying to expel that dry air that is out. So she is doing, looks like on satellite, she is doing much better. Just because I'm a geek, I'm going to put this in 3D mode. And I'm going to run this again in 3D mode so we can take a look at how she looks over the past 100 frames. This is last night when she was trying to get her act together, but couldn't get her act together because of dry air just choking off. This is when I stopped my live stream last night, and you notice the exponential growth of the cloud tops and how it stays. It doesn't just burn out, or how the cloud tops expand and how the cloud tops stay. At this point, this is when the dry air was in and she was trying to get going, but that dry air would choke it out and it would dissipate. And then this is once again trying to get it together. Here's your first connective burst that actually stuck around, and then your second one that came up, and now the second one has come up and is pretty much stuck around. So definitely looks better right now than what she looked like just this morning at 1:30 when I got off air at 1:30 this morning. Looks much better. Much better. See if I can get this. There we go. So take a little flyby. So this is like we'd be looking at the storm from New Orleans. This is like if we were looking at it from Jackson, Mississippi. And this is a 3D rendering. What you're looking at right now is a 3D rendering of the satellite, the infrared satellite, and just showing you how clouds had built up. The cloud deck has built up, and then your top cloud deck there is your coolest clouds. The further up you go in the atmosphere, the cooler that the atmosphere gets until you hit the troposphere, which is the next level of the atmosphere. So as you go up, clouds cool, and that's where you get the pink cloud tops, or your highest cloud tops. And when you start seeing the pink cloud tops and consistently seeing that, you know that there's not a lot of blocking and there's not a lot of interference with the breathing of the storm. So now that I see these pink cloud tops, it's looking like she is definitely looking better this morning. And since we are seeing this buildup and your cloud deck staying high, definitely higher than it was earlier this morning, then you're going to see an increase in strength. Increase in strength. I'll take it off of 3D mode. All right. Once again, these are reconnaissance missions by hurricane hunters going into the storm. All right. Let's move this off of satellite and let's go into radar one more time, single site. We'll do it out of Mobile. Just want to let you know, this right here, you see this and this. This is Project Mesovort. So what Project Mesovort is this is hurricane chasers, meteorologists. They all drive, not all, but some of them drive into the projected path of the storm, and they start putting up these little anometers where they think the storm path will cross. Okay, they have it on their vehicles, and then they also set up anometer readings. So that's what Project Mesovort is. You can find this project in the Radar Omega app. It's a paid for app. Okay, you have to pay for it. But everything I'm showing you here is all on the Radar Omega app. Okay. So what you can do with the paid subscription, you can go in and you can see exactly what these anometers and what these hurricane chasers are showing. And right now, where they just put this anometer, which looks like it is in Marlow and River Park area. Okay, looks like they set it up right on Kinney Drive. But by the way, if they set one of these up and you're around that, you might not want to be there. Just saying. You might want to think about not being in this area. If they set up this anometer right here, it means they expect the path to go through here. So right in the Marlow River Park area. And this is on the east side of Mobile Bay. That's where they set up this anometer. But it's really neat because you can go in and you can get real-time views of what's going on at that particular area. Right now, it is 75 degrees. Here's your humidity. Here's your dew point. This is your station pressure. Your sustained winds, your gusts, so not much going on when it comes to wind right now, but that will change. And you can see the readings. Station pressure, dew point, humidity, sustained winds. Project Mesovort, very, very good. And if they have a camera set up on it, it will also show a live camera, which I think they're going to do that. Here is another anometer. Looks like look, there we go. He set up. Looks like he has set up a second anometer, and this is going to be around the Point Clear area. So right in this area. Let's take a wider view. There's this is Mobile Bay right here, and he has set up another anometer right there. He looks like he's moving it just a little bit, but he's setting it up. Yep, it's just got a better reading. So he's got it set up there. You can see a live camera look out of Project Mesovort. And you can see that reading is starting right now. And you've got temperature 78, humidity 95%, dew point at 73. Your station pressure is 106. Your sustained winds is about 4.5 miles per hour, gusts up to 5. And then you can get a station pressure reading. And this, I believe, is over the last, I think it runs for the last 10 or 15 minutes. But even right here on Mobile Bay, where this anemometer is at, you can tell it's already raining. Already raining. And I can go in and I can do, there's Mike Phelps. See you up. Mike Phelps is up right now. And I'll see where he's at. But you can get multiple views of what's going on. And this is Don. Don's setting it up right here. Well, that's Mike Phelps set this one up. So Mike Phelps is out running this morning. Don must be getting his sleep on this morning. So there's Mike Phelps. There's Don Murray. And I'm waiting to see if Reed Timmer, I haven't seen him yet. I'm waiting to see if Reed Timmer is going to join the process here. I don't see Reed reporting from anywhere. But Reed, if you don't know who Reed Timmer is, he chases tornadoes, but he's also chasing hurricanes during the hurricane season. Let's go and let's look at some of the buoy data that is out there right now. Now this is on, let's look at this buoy. So this is on the east side of the eye, okay, directly east of the center of Sally right now. You have sustained winds at 69 miles per hour and you have gusts up to 82 miles per hour. Now that was at 10 a.m. It was 14 minutes ago. Let's go to the opposite side. Let's go to the west side, right, fixing to go into the eye, this buoy. 63 mile per hour sustained winds was 79 mile per hour gust. So that's what we're seeing off of buoy data that is close right outside. This is a KMIS. I believe it's a buoy data. Boy, say that fast. But you got 68 mile per hour with 83 mile per hour gust, and this is in one of the outer bands right here. Outer band, eye wall band. Okay, so that's what we're seeing right now from buoy data. Let's see, this is 9:55 a.m. Here's another buoy data, and this is on the other side. So this is on the west side of the mouth of the Mississippi. 43 mile per hour sustained winds, 54 mile per hour gust. I'll never click that. Yeah, okay. So even at the mouth of the Mississippi, right here, still experiencing tropical storm force winds to hurricane force gusts. And that's been going on since 1 a.m. this morning. We started seeing that from the buoy data this morning at 1 a.m. So this area right here has been experiencing tropical force storm winds to hurricane force gusts since 1 a.m. this morning. So already seeing two sides of the story with Sally. That is wind in outer bands, the mouth of Mississippi, and rain, a bunch of rain over on the Emerald coastline and the Alabama coastline. So good information there already this morning, already seeing what it's looking like. All right, let's go look at some models and see what the models have to say. I'm going to go to Pivotal Weather, one of my favorite sites. log in. All right, I'm going to start off this morning. I want to start off by let's go ahead and start off with the GFS. Let's zoom in to the Florida coastline. Let's see if I can change that. Might be my best one. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go regional here. All right. So, first off, this is the 6 o'clock run this morning. On the 6 o'clock run, good initiation. And what I mean by good initiation is that the GFS initializes it about at the right millibar, 987, and almost at the right position. You'll notice some of these will not initialize right. And when a model, the GFS is the American model, numerical model, and when the model doesn't initialize right, so instead of showing 987, it shows like 999 or 1000 on the millibar, and it's more, over here in position. That's when I really throw the rest of the model into question. Okay, but the GFS has initialized right, so that is very good. I'm going to go into a forecast loop, and I'm going to take this kind of slow so we can see what happens in the next couple of hours. So by tonight, by 6 o'clock tonight, this shows a little bit of strengthening and a northwest movement. So back, start. So shows a little bit of, the GFS shows some strengthening, and then shows a northwest movement. Then the GFS shows at around midnight more strengthening and then movement to the northeast. Okay, so this puts it basically due south of the Mississippi-Alabama border and then moving northeast. Okay, so the GFS does show strengthening. That's a 10 millibar strengthen so far. And then the GFS shows a 971. So this would be back up to category 2. And then knocking on the door of category 3. That's what the GFS, the American model, is showing right now. And it shows it basically just due south of Mobile Bay. And that would be this time, it would be 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then showing it going in directly into Mobile Bay by noon tomorrow. So basically going in somewhere in between Pascagoula and Bayou Labarte. And then basically scooting across and going directly into Mobile Bay. That is what the latest run of the GFS shows. And the GFS shows it as a 973. So once again, that would be a category 2. Upper end category 2, possibly category 3. That's what the American model shows at this 6 o'clock run. There'll be another model run coming out here in about an hour, and we'll see if anything changes with that. But that is what the GFS model shows on landfall and intensity. Now I'm going to do one of the things I really like to do, which is look at the model trends. I'm going to take this out to hour 30. And this shows me basically the last 10 to 12 runs of the GFS model. And it shows me what the model trend is. So I'm going to let this run. Notice the movement has been to the south and to the east. That's the last trend runs. Notice the trend is southeast and more intensification. South and east and more intensification. And that is the GFS, the American model, that is showing this. I'm going to let this run just for a second. I'm loading up something. So, just taking a look at it and seeing the latest trends, and the latest trends, especially watch the last four models. The last four model runs, the last four model runs is definitely showing south east trend, so moving it south and east and increasing in intensity. And this is all for the same hour. So this is for 30 hours out. So this would be Wednesday around noon for the GFS, is what this is showing. A second, I'm typing. All right. All right. So let's move this back out. So that is the GFS, and that's the 6 o'clock run of GFS. Let's go look at the 0Z run of, let's get out of the model trend loop. Let's go look at the European. Go look at the forecast loop for the European. All right, first off, right off the bat, I do not like the initiation of the European model, because the European model has it initiating at a 995. I don't like that whatsoever, because that's lower than what the millibars is on the storm. So don't like the initiation. Let's let it run through. All right. Back to the start. So there's your initiation. We go 24 hours into the future and pretty much does not move it. Let's take a look at this one more time. The movement would be to the north and to the west. And pretty much the same thing as the GFS, and it shows that it would be increasing in intensity. Then 988. So upper category 1, category 2 possibly, and that's basically just on the Mississippi Alabama coastline, and then going up and in through that coast, up into the state line, up through right past Mobile, and in 72 hours it has it northeast of Mobile, Alabama. Let's see if I can pinpoint where that would be. So that's going to be just east of Mount Vernon, Alabama. Latham, Tensall. So that's where right now the European has it in 72 hours. In 72 hours. All right. Let's go look at the UK Met. The UK Met has been all the runs on the UK Met have been the furthest east out of any model. It's better on the initiation than a little bit better on the initiation than it is compared to the European, because it's at a 990, not a 995. Well, let's see. 983, so showing strengthening, 980 within 18 hours, 24 hours, 973. Holy cow, the icon is basically has it as a category 2, category 3 storm within 30 hours and still out to sea, basically due south of Mobile Bay. 36 hours still gaining momentum, and this would have it going in near, that's going to be near Pensacola once again, further east than any other model, any other major model. So the UK Met is further east. It's been further east the whole time. It's been calling for a Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach hit for a couple of days now. So it's consistent at least, and consistently east than any other model. Let's get out of the UK Met. Let's go. Looks like the noon GFS is just now starting to initialize. Let's go into the rapid model. This is the latest run, 14Z. Let's see if I can get it in a little closer for you. There we go. So the rapid model shows very good initiation. 989, good positioning, a good look to the storm. I'm going to let it run through. So the HRR model also shows increasing intensity, and basically by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, just south of Mobile Bay. All right, just south of Mobile Bay. That's what the HRR model is showing. Once again, I said it last night, I'll say it again right now. 4 or 5 days out on the HHR model, I don't really even pay attention. Once it gets within 2 days, the HRR model seems to, 2 days within landfall, the HRR model really seems to get its act together. It's done really well on initiation, and it's done well so far on forecasting, on intensity. It's done decent at least. So right now, every model that we've looked at, remember the National Hurricane Center has said that they don't expect Sally to intensify before landfall. All the models we have looked at so far has shown intensification. So we'll have to really watch and see what's going on. But notice landfall is more towards Mobile and maybe just east of Mobile, so around Foley. A lot of these, they're bringing it in around, a lot of these models are bringing it in right around Mobile Bay or just east of Mobile Bay. So you basically, the Alabama-Mississippi state line to Foley is where most of these models are trying to bring it in. So we're starting to see a real consensus around that area. Okay. I'm going to jump out of pivotal weather and I am going to go into tropical tidbits, because tropical tidbits is going to show me hurricane models. So I'm going to go into the HWRF, which is a hurricane model. I'm going to go into Sally. So let's go back to hour number 3. So I don't like the initiation of the HWRF because starting at 6 o'clock is not at 977 millibar. So I'm going to have to take the rest of it with a grain of salt. But let's look 24 hours into the future with the HWRF. Obviously, there's a lot of people on Tropical Tidbits website. So I'm going to have to It's going to take me just a second to load it up. Give me just a second. Michael Guerrero says that it might intensify still. From everything I'm seeing, looks like there's a decent probability. So I think so also. Now, let's see if it'll load up for me. Okay, 24 hours. It shows this as a upper category 2, category 3 hurricane going in just west of Mobile Bay. So that's at 24. Let's look at 27 hours. Yes. So basically going in around Bayou Labarte. Bayou Labatre. Batre is going to be better pronunciation of it. So going in there, being just west of Mobile, this would push in all that storm surge in over Dauphin Island into Mobile Bay. That's what the HWRF, this is what this hurricane model shows. I'm still iffy on the intensity because it did not initiate right, which means it initiated as a stronger hurricane at the beginning. So it showed a stronger hurricane at the beginning than what she actually was at 6 o'clock this morning. Just have a comment here from FilmArt7. Says, please comment on the European model versus others. I will definitely comment on that. Up until this year, the European model has been the gold standard when it comes to storms, hurricanes, when it comes just to overall performance. The European model has been top notch. This year, the performance of the European versus the GFS has been almost the same as far as positioning and intensity. I believe one of the main scientists, and this is just some inside information, but one of the main scientists that was behind the information being fed into the European model has retired, and retired this past year, and they've made some tweaks since he's retired, and it doesn't seem to have helped. It's kind of around the same performance of the GFS, which is the American model. The UK Met model has made great improvements over what they have done, or how it has performed in the past. I really like the UK model. My newbie model that is starting to get some notification that I've liked for a long time is the Icon model. So ICON, and that is a German model. and it seems to be performing well, especially when you get 5 days in. The icon model seems to perform well. So right now the European model it performs about as well as the GFS so far this year. Up until this past year, I would have rode the European model in 7 days from Sunday. It's just one of those things. But the performance is really being matched by the GFS right now. So European model versus others, it is kind of fallen back to the pack this year. Hopefully they can make some changes in it and get it back on top again. But it's kind of the same as everything else right now, which is different from what it used to be. All right. Back to the H-Wharf model. The H-Wharf model, once again, brings this in let's go back an hour, brings this in basically over Dolphin Island or just to the west of Dolphin Island, and then brings it up the west side of Mobile Bay, which would bring in all that surge into Mobile Bay and over Dolphin Island. And you would see that also over to Orange Beach also. And also into the Emerald Coastline, you would still see some surge going into that coast. Let's get off the H-Wharf and go to the other hurricane model, which is the H-Mon. Notice the H-Mon is very similar, but instead of bringing it to the east of Dolphin Island, it brings it to the west of Dolphin Island. It brings it just to the east of Dolphin Island. Looks like it's got a straight north movement and brings it directly into Mobile. Once again, that would be surge, so 24 hours. That would be surge coming directly into Mobile Bay to the right, and your hurricane force winds could extend over to Pensacola if that is the case. All right. But definite surge on the east side. High surge would be on the east side of the storm. So that's your two hurricane models and what they show. I'm going to switch over and go to another one of my favorite sites, which is weathernerds.com. Love weathernerds.com. Weather Nerds it lets you see cross sections of storms. I really like that. So I'm going to go into numerical models. Let's go into the HMON on Sally. Here's the initialization of Sally. Let's take a look at it. Let's get a cross-section mode. I'm going to go from east, let's try this again. I'm going to go from northwest to southeast. Let's get a good cut into the center of the storm. Let's get a cross-section. Let's go in and take a look at winds. So this is the initialization. It looks like a good initialization. So a good start to the model run. If you look and see your winds, actually stronger on the the west side of the storm. Normally that's flip-flop. It's usually wind stronger over here on the east side of the storm. So you've got 96, so around 105 mile per hour winds is what it initializes it with an eye wall still trying to form. Okay, with an eye wall still trying to form. Let's go in and look at the moisture. So the moisture will show me if this run has initialized with dry air in it, and it has initialized with dry air in it. So to your upper and mid atmosphere. So this would be the atmosphere from the top part of the atmosphere all the way down to the surface. Your green is moisture-rich air. Your brown is dry air. And dry air is not good for thunderstorm development, not good for hurricanes. So it did initialize with dry air, reaching all the way to the center of the eye of Sally, and also shows it in the upper atmosphere on the east side of the storm. So a lot of dry air in the mid to upper atmosphere is what the HMON signifies at the start. So that's what the HMON sees starting out. I'm going to move this forward. Let's move this forward to 24 hours from now. And I'll probably have to, let me get out. Let it catch up for a second. 24 hours out. Let's go get a cross section. We'll go from, this time we'll go from southwest to northeast. We'll get a cross section of the storm. And we'll look and see. Notice still once again, upper atmosphere down to the surface, still showing dry air reaching into the center of the storm. So maybe this is what the National Hurricane Center is seeing, and why it does not want to increase intensity is there's going to be a continuation of dry air. So the model still shows intensification, but it still shows dry air in the west side of the system. If dry air persists and continues to persist in Sally, then yes, there will be no intensification. Just that's not what that dry air is not good for hurricanes. Okay, for hurricanes trying to intensify. So that's what the HMON, which is a hurricane model. I really like the HMON and HWRF. That's what it shows. Okay. Let's back out. Let's go into the HWRF. Now the HWRF, remember, I did not like the initialization of the HWRF because it initialized it lower. It initialized it at like 977 millibars, which that's not what it is. So I'm going to get a cross section. Start right here. I'm going to go from northwest to southeast on this. And once again, this is a cross section through the HWRF model, a hurricane model. And this is what it saw at 6 o'clock this morning. This is how it initialized. So initialized with winds up to 112 knots, so almost 120 miles per hour on the west side. That did not happen. That's why I did not like the start of the HWRF. And then even with that, you still see the dry air in the west side of the storm going into the eye of the hurricane. So very hard for it to be a 977 millibar hurricane with all this dry air getting into the center. Just that's not how hurricanes work. Okay, dry air tampers down. It tampers down development. Okay, so I like the HMON because it started right at the HWRF. The 6 o'clock run I'm throwing out because it just initialized too strong and did not with dry air 977 is not really going to work. All right, let's go look at the icon model. And let's get into winds. Icon looks like it might have developed this a little bit too. The initialization might have been too heavy. I'll move 24 hours. So let's go take a look. Let's go get a cross section of Sally via the icon model and see what it shows. So it shows a very tight eye, but discombobulated eye. Not a good looking eye because there's no separation here at the bottom. So, but it does show winds up to around 100 miles per hour still, but not a succinct eye, and that's 24 hours from now. Let's go look at moisture. And even 24 hours from now, the icon model showing dry air reaching into the center of Sally. I think I'm getting a good idea why the National Hurricane Center is not calling for development, because all these models are showing dry air still 24 hours, dry air still in Hurricane Sally 24 hours from now, which means that development is just, it's hard. It's hard for any tropical system, any thunderstorm. If there's dry air and it gets ingested, the amount of intensification is just basically tampered down. So I think that's what the National Hurricane Center is seeing. All these models are showing, even 24 hours out, you still have dry air getting into the system from the west. Okay? So I'm seeing why. They're showing that. I'm gonna go to the NAM 12K. And I believe this is at 24 hours. This is at 24 hours. Let's go get a cross section. And we'll go from southwest to northeast. Here we go. This is the NAM model, and guess what the NAM model shows? This is 24 hours from now, and the NAM model shows a whole bunch of dry air on the west side. So all these models are showing dry air coming into the west side of the storm, continuing to have dry air into the west side of the storm. And I do believe this is why the National Hurricane Center is saying, hey, all you models that still develop it, it's hard to develop a storm, hard to intensify a hurricane with dry air in it. Let's go to winds and see what the winds with the NAM model shows with the winds. It won't show it. Okay, NAM model won't show it. Let's go to the rapid model. And let's look at moisture. See if that'll pull it up. Nope, it will not. Let's go to NAM model's having trouble showing anything, so we'll get out of that. Let's go to the high resolution model. It'll pull up. Weather Nerds is probably seeing more traffic than it's used to. Let me get out and go back in. All right. Let's go forecast hour. Model cycle 14. Forecast hour 18. The high resolution model only shows out to 18 hours. So I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna get a cross section once again going from southwest to northeast. Let's get a cross section. Here's the winds. Notice it does have a defined eye for Sally. Your stronger winds are on the east side, like they normally would be. You're looking at 88 to 96 knots, so looking around 100 miles per hour. Once again, this is the high resolution model. Let's go in and see if we can see moisture on this model. And even in the high resolution model, still dry air on the west side to the upper and mid atmosphere. Once again, upper atmosphere where 100 is, down around the surface around 1,000, and you have just dry air coming in the mid to upper atmosphere from the west side of the storm. So looks like all the models are kind of showing the same thing. I'm going to go to the GFS model, and let's zoom out. Let's see if there's any 12 o'clock runs yet. Yes, there is. So on your 12 o'clock, let's go to 24 hours out. So it's a 12Z run. Zoom in here. Let's get model field of winds. So at 12Z, this is for Wednesday at 12Z. So this will be tomorrow at noon. The GFS has this going in at basically through Mobile Bay. Let's get a sounding. Just give me a cross-section mode. We'll go just like this once again from southwest to northeast. Let's get the cross-section. And let's see what the wind field looks like. So the GFS, the GFS is showing a strong eye. So here's your, once again, top of the atmosphere surface, showing a good eye, showing most of your stronger winds on the east side of the storm, showing it going in about 96, so around 100 to 105 knots, or excuse me, 100 to 105 mile per hour winds. Let's go in. Storm looks pretty good. Let's go in and see moisture. See if moisture is at. Moisture has not been added in yet, so I can't see if there's dry air in it. But let's jump out of here. Let's go into pivotal weather. Let's see if they have. They do have it. Okay. Let's go into regional. Florida. Get a closer look at it. So the initiation for this, a little bit high. Let's go to 24 hours out. Shows us going in as a 975 millibar hurricane, basically right over Dolphin Island. Now, this is the latest run of the GFS. This is the noon run of the GFS. And this noon run shows Category 2 Hurricane Sally going directly over Dolphin Island into Mobile Bay, directly into Mobile Bay. Let's look at moisture. So it does see, the GFS shows this as, I don't see a lot of dry air. It's a lot of blue, moisture-rich air. Maybe some dry air trying to get into the south. But still, it still shows it not as much dry air. So the noon GFS is starting to show, once again, a Category 2, about 100 to 105 mile per hour winds going directly over Dolphin Island and directly into Mobile Bay. Directly into Mobile Bay. See if the GFS high res. Got over here, it doesn't show much. On the weather nerds, let's see. They don't have the new GFS. Let's see here. Let's go tropical tidbits. GFS Para. That's a 6 o'clock run, so the Para definitely hasn't updated yet. The new GFS hasn't updated yet. Let's see if the Canadian is hasn't initiated yet. So, right now the newest model is the GFS model, and the GFS model is showing Once again, Category 2 Sally going over Dolphin Island directly into Mobile Bay. Directly into Mobile Bay. Your new rapid is loading. Your RPS. This is your rapid Canadian model. And let's see, I like the initiation of the rapid Canadian model because it is initiated in about 988. That's pretty much where Sally is right now. Let's go 18 hours into the future. So your Canadian model is moving it further east. You can already tell. 24 hours. Basically landfall in 24 hours right on the Florida Alabama coastline. So that's your latest rapid Canadian model. So that would have it going in basically Orange Beach into Pensacola. Okay, Orange Beach into Pensacola. That is the latest Canadian rapid model is showing. So the Canadian model, the rapid Canadian model, is kind of falling in line with what the UK Met model is showing right now. All right. Let's go look at the WRF model. Zoom in. This looks like it's the 12Z model. Let's go forecast hour. Let's go out 18 hours. So even your WRF model is still showing intensification, but notice it is definitely a more eastward trend. Let's go to 21 hours. Still about to make landfall, but this would be around Foley, Alabama. Let's go 24 hours. Okay, going in right around Orange Beach, Foley, right at the Florida, Alabama line. I'm going to get a cross-section mode. Once again, this is the WRF model. The winds is a little discombobulated. The eye's a little discombobulated at the top, but definitely shows it going in as a Category 2. You're looking at 112 to 120 knots. So you're looking at 120 to 125 mile per hour winds on the east side of the storm. And just going in right around Orange Beach. Okay, right around Orange Beach, moving into Pensacola. So Florida, Pensacola, Emerald Coastline, you are not out of the woods. Seeing a general trend eastward with the new models. Okay. Let's see if we have moisture in here. We do still show dry air. Even the WRF model showing dry air into the mid and upper atmosphere on the west side of the storm. So still throws intensification into doubt. Okay, definitely showing intensification into doubt. Let's go total accumulated. Let's run this through 36 hours. We'll run it through 72 hours for the length of the storm here. This is the high resolution GFS model. Let's look at some rainfall totals. Mobile Bay about 17 inches. Pensacola about 13.5 inches. All the way over to 5 to 10 inches around Destin, Fort Walton Beach. 3.5, 4 inches. I don't like that because you almost got that right now. You almost have that right now on the coastline already, on the Emerald coastline. So pretty much what the GFS is showing is not much rain whatsoever near Gulfport, Mississippi, and then you just drive A very short drive over to Mobile Bay, and you're talking about 17 inches of rain. Over to Pensacola, 13 inches of rain. That's what the GFS high resolution model shows. Let's go to the regular GFS. The regular GFS pretty much showing the same thing. So 17 inches in Mobile, 16, almost 17 inches in Pensacola. You're going just north, so this would be moving into south central Alabama, 10, 11 inches, somewhere around 8 to 10 inches in east central Alabama, moving up into Georgia, around Atlanta, Georgia, 4 to 5 inches of rain in Atlanta, Georgia. And I think this is underdone on this coastline. I really think it's really underdone on this coastline. I'm seeing more rain on this coastline, on the Emerald coastline. Let's see, 72 hours. This is the NAM model. The NAM model showing around Mobile. Now, once again, I think the NAM model brought it in further east, but still, almost 10 inches in Mobile, shows 26 inches of rain in Pensacola. Holy cow. NAM model just blowing it out, rainfall potential. But once again, south, just north of the Florida border in Alabama, you're talking about 11 to 12 inches. And once again, we move this over towards Atlanta, Georgia, just south of Atlanta, Georgia, 3, 4, 5 inches, 3 inches. For Atlanta, Georgia, this once again, this takes a more easterly turn on the NAM. Let's look at the Canadian rapid rainfall total right now. The Canadian rapid, once again, it moves it further east. Doesn't show much for Mobile, I don't believe that, but still 14 inches of rain for Pensacola. That's 18 inches of rain down around Panama City. This is closer to the rainfall amount total for the Emerald coastline that I was thinking. Somewhere between 5, depending on location, somewhere between 5 and 15 inches of rain along the Emerald coastline. Even if the storm does go in towards Mobile, even if it goes in towards Biloxi or Gulfport, it's still going to just continuously rain here for the next 70 hours, 65 hours. So, once again, that shows a more easterly run on landfall and rainfall. Let's look at, we're at 48 hours out. Looks like let's move this from precipitation to composite reflectivity. Let's do, this is the National Weather Service model, one of them. Notice it keeps it out to sea, basically just south of Mobile Bay, then moves it a little further east. And this model has this going in right at Orange Beach. So definitely seeing your 12 o'clock models are showing another eastward bump, okay? Another eastward bump. This would be making a landfall at Orange Beach. Pretty much at Orange Beach, Gulf Breeze. Pretty much Orange Beach and just south and west of Pensacola, near the Air Force Base down there. Moving directly over Pensacola, and then out to south central Alabama, moving into Georgia. So this would be composite reflectivity, so the radar. And this is one of the National Weather Service's, one of their weather models. Let's go to another one. There's 3 of them that the National Weather Service has. This takes it near Mobile Bay. So it's going in directly over Dolphin Island. This is 6Z. It's 12Z. Okay. So this will be going in about 6 o'clock in the morning. This is one, because it shows at 6 o'clock in the morning going in over Dauphin Island and into Mobile Bay. And let's go look at the third one. This takes it basically due north. Due north into Mobile Bay and moves it out through central Alabama into northwestern Georgia. So 2 of the 3 National Weather Service models had this going into Mobile Bay, with the first one that we looked at, which is this one. Shows it more easterly. There we go. Shows it going in more on Orange Beach. So this one goes in towards Orange Beach. The other 2 National Weather Service models carry it into Mobile Bay. So right now, once again, trend east. Mobile Bay to Florida, Alabama coastline seems to be the trend right now. Seems to be the trend. By the way, I will say one more time, I'm accepting donations. I call it coffee money. So if you are enjoying what you're seeing, if it's providing you some good information, this is my PayPal account, Big Cubs Fan in TX. Feel free to drop me some coffee money so I can continue to do this tonight and tomorrow morning. So please feel free to drop me a donation if you feel like it. Okay? Once again, Big Cubs Fan in TX. Big Cubs Fan in TX. All right. Let's see if any other noon models have started. Your 15Z. Let's go 14Z. This is simulated. This is the high resolution model. This is its last full run. Let's look at it. This is what the radar would show. So notice, even in the high resolution model, that still in 16 hours, so still at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, that eye, the southern end of the eye, is not completely closed off. Okay? So at 18, it only goes out to 18 hours. Basically due south of Mobile Bay, with it kind of heading north to northeast. So this looks like it would be coming in, has this coming in just east of Dauphin Island, around the village Tannen, Bon Secours National Wildlife Refuge, Palmetto Beach, Laguna Key, Oyster Bay, right around that area. Okay, right around that area this is the high resolution model. The American high resolution model is what it's showing. So if I was to take my radar Omega and try to pinpoint where the noon models are showing, look at that extrapolated surface, 980, basically a 982. So pressure is dropping. This is a Air Force Recon going in. There's 981.7. Let's get this 981.7, 983. So right here in the center of the hurricane, so right in the eye, and close to the eye, you're seeing that's an extrapolated surface, so 981. So that would be strengthening if this proves out to be true. Okay. So I think it was 988 this morning. This is showing extrapolated as to 982 if that's a good read. Okay? If that is a good read. 985 back here. 986. 981.4. 980. 980.3. 981. 981. So let's go back to this. 981. Right here. 981. 983. 980 would be 981 extrapolated out. So she is dropping in pressure, which means she is trying. She is trying. If all these prove out, you got 980, 981, 982 millibar by the latest recon that is going in. So she is definitely trying to intensify. And if you look at the radar scope, let's go. Let me take these out so we get a better view here. So this is radar omega. This is based out of, I think this is based out of Mobile. This is based out of Mobile. Let's see if I can get a better look out of this Slidell, Louisiana. All right, let's run this for 100 frames and let's take a look at her. Notice how wide that eye is. Definitely trying to close off. She's doing her best. I promise you, she is doing her best trying to close off that eye. That dry air just keeps, tell where that dry air is coming in at right there. So the eye looked really good. This morning. It's kind of falling apart. Looks like dry air is getting ingested through right here. But still, when you see the pressure dropping, even with that eye not fully closed and looking discombobulated, like it is right here, still dropping her pressure. And look, you see in this latest run, if she can kick this dry air out right here, all right, dry air coming in like this. If she can kick that dry air out right here, if she can expel it out, then she'll almost have a complete eye right there. She's trying to get there. And you can tell I left that where her eye would be right now. You can tell where the movement is to the west-northwest, slowly. But the west-northwest still. So that's where our eye was. And that was at 7 o'clock this morning. That's where our eye is at now. You know, movement to the the northwest. Okay, movement to the northwest, like this. Slowly, very slowly. Once again, this is a radar out of Slidell, Louisiana, and just not much movement. The movement is to the northwest and slow, and she is still battling this dry air that's getting wrapped around dry air. So that dry air is wrapping around the center, and it's keeping her from closing off that eye wall. If she can get that eye wall closed off and keep it closed off, she will intensify. But as we saw earlier from the models that we looked at, even 24 hours from now, almost all the models are showing dry air still infiltrating and coming in from the west. So that would be coming down from the west-northwest. Let's switch from the radar. Before I do that, look at that dry air. Here's your eye, and here's this dry air coming in. And she's doing her best to wrap this around and to circle it off and try to kick this dry air to the west. That's what Sally's trying to do, is to kick this dry air off to the west, but she just can't do it at the moment. Just can't do it. Still has dry air coming in. Let's get off radar. Let's go on to satellite. This is the visible. Instead of 100 frames, let's do 75. Stop it. Let's do 50. We don't need to see in the dark. Let's stop it. Let's do 30 frames. You can see the good twisting. She is twisting well. Sorry about that. So she has good twist to her. She is trying hard to build up storms, both on the southeastern side and on the northern side, northwestern side. She's trying to build those storms up. That dry air is coming in, and then it basically just puts a cap. And that cap simple way to explain this. As air moves up in the atmosphere, it cools. As it cools, it creates clouds. So it moves up in the atmosphere, it cools, creates moisture. The moisture turns from a vapor back into a liquid. That does rain and storms. Okay? So as air rises, it cools. The faster it rises, the cooler it gets. And if there's nothing impeding it, if there is no cap, okay? If there's no cap, then the air can keep rising and you have better development of storms as the air continues to rise. Okay? With dry air, if this is height of the atmosphere, if there is dry air, it creates what is a cap. The moist air rises up, hits that cap, and that dry air basically caps it back down. Your storms can only get so high. That's what this dry air is doing into the center of the hurricane. So into the eye hurricane. The dry air is coming in from the west. It creates a cap. So as the air rises, it can only rise so much. That dry air creates a cap, forces the air back down, which your thunderstorms build up, hit that cap, and then they die out. That is my best explanation, the simplest explanation that I can give you on why dry air affects thunderstorms and why it affects hurricanes so much. That rising air, this moisture rising out, turns into, one more time, the cap, which is dry air. Your moisture, your air is forced upward, hits that cap, forced back down. Your thunderstorms cannot, if there was no cap, they would continue moving up, they would intensify more, and you would get better venting, okay? Better venting of the storm. With Sally right now, this dry air is in place. Let me carry this out just a little bit. So if this is rudimentary, but if this is the hurricane as a whole, you have dry air coming in from the west, and on the west side of the storm, you have that cap that forces the air back down. Better breathing over here on the east side of the storm, but your hurricane will always be imbalanced, unbalanced. So you'd be stronger over here on the east side of the storm, and then you'd be unbalanced on the west side of the storm. So over here is where you start getting your imbalance in right here because of the dry air coming in from the west. That's what's going on at the current time with Hurricane Sally. It's this dry air coming in from the mid to upper atmosphere coming in to Sally. I hope that explains it a little bit better. Let's look at the infrared. I'm going to take the infrared because we can see it better. I'm going to take it over 100 frames so we get a longer look into what Sally has done. And that started out at about 7 o'clock this last night, or 8 o'clock last night. Notice, just, this started at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the big blow up, and then notice it blow up and then die out, blow up and die out, blow up and die out. That's because of this dry air coming in. Once again, thunderstorms can't get as high and can't sustain as long as they would need to. If we go back, I'm going to take this back 150 frames. Close this out, sorry. Let's take it back 150 frames, and the reason why I want to do that is when there was no dry air, notice how this big blow up was, and it was consistently blowing up. Okay, so your thunderstorms were consistently higher. This was yesterday morning, and notice consistently blowing up, and then it started ingesting that dry air. And then once again, it's like having the best way I can put this is if you have a lawnmower and you get dirt inside that gas tank, what happens? It spits, it sputters, it tries to work, but it tries its hardest to work, but there's something that's impeding your gas flow, and that's exactly what is happening with Sally. It started last night, and you can just see it try to blow. Oh, sorry, that probably got you dizzy there. Do you see storms try to build up, and then that dry air gets a hold of it, knocks it down? Just keeps trying, and that dry air coming in, starting right about now. Yep. Just tries, it spits and sputters, just like something's in the gas tank. And it is. That's what dry air does to a hurricane. She's putting up a heck of a fight. She is trying her hardest to intensify. Especially starting right about now with this. She keeps trying. And this is this morning. She's trying really hard this morning to wrap that eye around. But it's just not the same as it was yesterday morning over here. Once that dry air started getting into the system, then it just spits and sputters. Not from a lack of trying, though. Not from a lack of trying. Definitely not from a lack of trying. Just see her. She is trying hard to intensify, to expand that wind field, and to kick out that dry air. Just hard to do. If she can get, once again, if she can close off that eye and keep that eye closed, then she can develop, she can intensify. But she has to close off that eye, and she is trying so hard. Sally is trying so hard to close off that eye. She just can't do it. Too much dry air being ingested from the west. From the west. All right. Let's get out of here. Let's go to National Hurricane Center. Let's look at their key. Let's look at their warning and static images. Okay, this is as of 10 a.m. Still sustained winds at 85 miles per hour, moving northwest at 2 miles per hour. Yeah, that's slow. That is absolutely slow. Absolutely slow. Let's see, I'm gonna go. Jump on. I'm going to try to update some information here. Trying to do 3 things at once. Sorry. So as of 10 a.m., the tropical force storm winds already into Mobile, Pensacola, over to the mouth of the Mississippi. We saw that earlier. Checking for information here. Let's go look at their timing. 7 a.m. on Wednesday, going into moving directly into Mobile Bay. So that would be a lot of storm surge coming into Mobile Bay, onto Orange Beach, onto Pensacola. Okay. Hurricane warnings are up from the Louisiana, Mississippi border all the way over to past Pensacola. See if I can get. That looks like it's over towards Fort Walton Beach. So over towards Destin, Fort Walton Beach. There's a hurricane warning is out for once again the Louisiana, Mississippi border over to Fort Walton Beach, Destin. You're under a hurricane warning. Okay, tropical storm warnings extend down from basically Destin down to Apalachicola, and basically from the mouth of the Mississippi up to Slidell, Louisiana. Those are tropical storm warnings. But right now, Onus looks like basically, I would say, from Pascagoula over to Destin. Pascagoula over to Destin right now needs to be very aware of what is going on. Pascagoula, Mississippi over to Destin, Florida. The main threat, of course, is going to be wind wherever it makes landfall and just to the east, but the storm surge and the amount of rain that's going to fall. That is your big challenge for today and tomorrow. Rain, surge, and wind. Rain, surge, and wind. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go look at the rainfall potential. 15 to 20 inches. Basically from Biloxi, Pascagoula, Mobile Bay, over to the Florida-Alabama line, with 8 to 10 inches around Pensacola over towards Destin. Now, once again, if this moves further east and your landfall is further east, then all this shifts to the east, okay? All this will shift to the east. Let's look at peak surge. So the peak surge right now, we're looking at 4 to 7 feet. Dauphin Island, basically Mississippi-Alabama border, over to the Alabama-Florida border, 4 to 7 feet. Mobile Bay, 4 to 7 feet. 4 to 6 feet, going still over into mouth of the Mississippi. 2 to 4 feet now into Lake Pontchartrain, better than the 4 to 6 feet than what we were looking at earlier yesterday. So your main surge is going to be, of course, Mobile Bay, Dauphin Island, Orange Beach, over into Pensacola, Destin, Fort Walton Beach area. Your main surge areas. Go back to Radar Omega. This is the latest. And my friend Jim Solomon just sent me a text, and Reed Timbers in Gulf Shores. So he's in Gulf Shores. Get out of satellite and go to radar, single site radar. We'll move to Mobile. Still have this dry air right here, dry air pocket. Still trying to close off, but dry air. And look how close the center is now to the mouth of the Mississippi. "31 miles from the mouth of the Mississippi." Here on the east side of the storm, you got 79 mile per hour winds, so sustained 79 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 94 mile per hour winds. That's a buoy. Getting close to the center, this is another buoy, 63 mile per hour sustained winds with hurricane gust of 79 miles per hour. Over here, this other buoy, 59 mile per hour sustained winds with basically a hurricane gust of 75 miles per hour. So right around the center of the storm, of course, right here, is where you're seeing your higher winds. Oops, sorry, didn't want to show you Corpus. Not much going on over here. There's a little tropical system that's off our coast. So that is the look right now, the current look of what we have with Hurricane Sally. So I'm going to switch it back to me, and I'm going to say thank you for watching this live stream. I'm going to get off here, go to work. Then I'm going to come back, and then tonight we'll do another live stream. Make sure that you go down, if you're watching this, make sure to subscribe. So make sure to hit subscribe, then hit the bell icon, and make sure that you see this first so you can be notified right off the bat when I go live. Okay, let me turn my light on so you can see my ugly face there. Not as many shadows. So make sure that you click that subscribe button. Once again, you can also follow me, Randall's Weather Page, on Facebook. Randall's Weather Page Center, also on Facebook. You can also follow me on Twitter at Randall's Weather Page. I'll make it really easy for you. And once again, if you feel inclined, if you feel led, that is my PayPal. Big Cubs fan in Texas. If you feel inclined to give a donation, greatly appreciate it. Once again, I'm calling it my coffee money. You can tell I'm empty. Been drinking coffee since I got up this morning with my Mississippi State mug. But if you do feel inclined, please feel free to drop me a little donation. I greatly appreciate it. My little coffee fund money that I'm trying to keep up so I can keep the energy going. There's a little bit left in the bottom. I think I'm gonna drink it. It's like cold brew coffee. Okay, thank y'all very much. I'll get back on here about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight with the latest updates and the latest model runs. Thank y'all.